Awesome. Well, good afternoon, Lydia.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Doing great. I'm so glad that you are here with me today, and we're going to talk about the
Forbearance. Here, let me turn this down a minute.
Oh,
Sorry.
yes.
Got a little loud on me. So, so today we're going to talk about our update on forbearance. And we've got 6 things that people need to know about forbearance. And first off, let me just say that forbearance, for those that don't know, is what came out of the COVID when people were losing their jobs or being furloughed and they weren't getting as much money. So the federal government came together and said, let's help homeowners. So basically a forbearance is a loan modification, and it was really only meant to be temporary. So let's talk about, they've evolved over the months. So let's start out by talking about what you have for the 6 items.
Perfect. Well, thank you. And you know, one of the things is we do these updates to guide consumers, to let them know that, you know, they have options. We want to reassure everyone that today's market is not like 2008 market. We're not in for a crash or even a correction, but there will be a trickle of some fallout that comes of this. And it's really good to let everybody know about the options and things that are going on. That's the whole point of, you know, our goal with these. And
absolutely.
And, you know, I always like to start with the stats, and we had, again, so straight from the Mortgage Bankers Association, we had another decrease. We are now down to about 5.83% of all mortgages that are in forbearance, which is around 2.5 million mortgages that are in forbearance. And, you know, I have a good quote from Mike Fratantoni, who's the Senior Vice President and Chief Economist for MBA. And he says, with more and more borrowers exiting forbearance in the prior week, the share of loans in forbearance declined across all loan types. Almost half of forbearance exits to date have been from borrowers who remained current while in forbearance, or who reinstated by paying back past due amounts. The share of loans in forbearance has returned to levels seen in early April, but still remains remarkably high. Further improvement will require ongoing recovery in the job market as well as additional fiscal stimulus. So basically saying it's getting better. We still need some help, but it's definitely getting better, and things are continuing to improve. And that's all in regards to forbearance. I also like to, so the second item I want to discuss is delinquencies. So when a loan is in forbearance and they're not making their payments, it is recorded as a delinquency. And so that is the people who are late in forbearance are included in these numbers, but if they are current, they are not. I hope that makes sense. So we know that about 4.4% of mortgage holders are seriously delinquent, which is, you know, it's 5.5 times more than it was 6 months ago, but it's still so much better. And we've actually saw our peak for 90-day plus, which is long-term delinquencies, peaked in August. We actually had an improvement from August to September. Very, very promising. We like seeing that strong improvement. Here's something interesting. An estimated 409,000 homeowners who were current in their mortgage in August became 30 days late in September. And that's actually the lowest volume since January. Cure activity, or getting caught back up, increased in September by 502,000. So, you know, about 100,000 more than who went delinquent. So, and they got current on their mortgage from August to September. So we're seeing, you know, kind of a net improvement, which is great. If you think about delinquency, COVID peak was 7.8%. And where we are today is, shoot, did I lose it? Oh, here it is. Where we are today is 6.6. So we've definitely gone down from that 7.8. And then one thing to consider, our Great Recession delinquency rate, we were at 10.6%. So, I mean, we're still significantly under that. And then to get a good baseline, and these are national numbers, but to get a good baseline, in January of 2020, we were at 3.22%. So there's always been some, but we're definitely elevated. And one thing that's kind of cool in Arizona runs under the national average. We're at about 5.5% of mortgages are delinquent.
Yep.
My number three, trying to stay on task. My number three is just to talk about this market is not like the 2008 market. Forbearance is decreasing. Delinquencies are decreasing. Homes are appreciating. We've got true demand. And just to show how significant that true demand is, we know that rental rates for single family housing are actually going up faster than sales prices, which is hard
Isn't
to
that crazy?
Yes, because they're going
Oh
up so
my
fast. And we know that actually, if you want to get that median house, the median household, it's like that 3-2, 1,500 square foot house, you're going to pay more in rent than you are in mortgage right now. And that just shows how fast that's gone up. And that rents actually went down in 2008 or in when in the bubble of 05. And so we are not in that same kind of market, but there are understandably ways, reasons why people are saying, okay, what's happening? What does this mean? And it's not that things are much better, but we are aware of the trickle. And I know that's one of the things that Lydia was sharing with me about kind of what you're seeing in regards to especially your servicer requests.
Yep. So I work for a servicing company, which basically is the manager of the loans. And so when somebody goes delinquent or when there's an issue, they hire an agent like myself if they have to foreclose on them, and we have to put them back on the market for the servicing company. So back in, I'm going to say starting in July, I started having these, I call them drive-by inspections, and they started out with maybe, I'm going to say 3 to 5 a week. And then a few weeks later, I was starting to get 2 to 5 a day. And that's been pretty consistent until about a week and a half ago. It's been back to about 6, 7 a week. So I'm getting about 2 a day now. So that is coming back down, which is a good sign, because it basically shows that because the drive-by inspections that I'm doing is the servicing company wants to know, are the homes occupied? Is the home being maintained? And they just really want to make sure that there's that these are probably, I'm assuming, higher risk folks that I'm doing my inspections with, that potentially, not necessarily, but potentially could get into a foreclosure situation if they go down that road. So that is really good news that the inspections are getting a little bit less. I am seeing a little bit more in BPOs. So BPOs are when basically a comparable market analysis for the servicing company. And that's when they get a little bit closer to, I think, when they're really considering what should we do? Should we, start the foreclosure process, that type of thing. So I am starting to.
They're doing their homework, because as we get closer to the end of the year and the expiration of those moratoriums, maybe that's what their plans are.
Yep. And that does bring me to the next point is, these forbearances are not a forgiven loan. So it's not like you're not going to have to pay it back. You have to pay it back. But what Freddie and Fannie are doing is they're basically, they're not charging a late fee at this point. They've put kind of a halt on that until the end of the year. So, but they really want to see people get out of they want an exit strategy of some kind from these forbearances by December 31st of 2020. A few weeks ago, we weren't sure if they were going to extend that, the forbearance or even the CARES Act. And we still really don't know that for a fact, but depending on what happens and who ends up winning the election, we may have some sort of new type of, CARES Act possibly, because really, Freddie and Fannie and you and I, we're all in the business of home ownership. So because of the pandemic, the government wanted to see people stay in their home. And that's really what the goal is to keep people in their home. But they do need an exit strategy if you are in a forbearance. So just know that there are some options. You can start paying the loan back. You can ask for a permanent loan modification. You need to go through your servicing company and get all the details. We have attorneys, if you'd rather have an attorney negotiate that for you. There's possibility of using some retirement funds. You definitely want to look to someone with some guidance on that, because you want to talk to someone that understands your specific situation and how your retirement works, whether it's a loan or whether it's or whether you can just take it out, and what kind of issues you have if you take it out early. Are there penalties, things like that? So the other thing too that people don't need to realize is you have to have 3 consecutive payments, on-time payments, to be able to refi. And I always like to bring that up because the rates are so low right now. And if that is an option for you, let's figure out how you can get those 3 consecutive on-time payments so that you can talk to a lender and can do a refi to lower your house payment.
Definitely.
So, yep. So the main thing that we really want to reiterate again this time is, let's talk about getting you an exit strategy between now and December 31st. We only have a little over a month left. It really is important to start thinking. We should have thought about it last month, but let's start thinking, how are we going to get you out of this forbearance, and what is the steps to move forward? So that's really what I want to reiterate. Let's figure out how to do this. You might not be out of it by the 31st of December 31st of 2020, but let's get you towards that, going towards that plan. Yep, I agree.
Love it.
So
I love it.
Thanks, Sarah.
Well, that's such good information. So thank you so much for sharing that, and your experience with the servicer and all that. So it's wonderful, wonderful news that things are improving. We just got to keep it up.
It is. And let's hope that we're going in the right direction. And,
for sure.
And you and I have a lot of options for people. And, you know, selling isn't necessarily one of them, but that is something that you could do to regroup if you have to. So I would say, you know, if you need to know what your options are, call Sarah or myself. We'll get on a call with you and we'll give you the different options that are available. We'll get you put in the right direction. That's for sure.
Definitely.
So, okay. So I'll see you next week, Sarah.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time, Lydia. And we're going to be talking again soon.
Thank you. Have a good week. Bye-bye.
Bye, you too.